Let's make a plant-based buckwheat bread stuffing for the holidays. Welcome back to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we are going to make some stuffing. So this is my last recipe for you before your holiday meal. And we are going to make this stuffing out of my buckwheat bread. So it's gluten-free and super delicious. So we're going to jump right in. First, you need 1 pound of sliced mushrooms, and we're going to get those cooking. Sauteing first. We're going to saute some of that moisture out. And we're going to add our celery in with it just for some added moisture. So this is 4 stalks of celery that are diced pretty small. So we're just going to cook this till a lot of that moisture comes out of the onion or out of the mushrooms before we add our onions. Before we go on to our next step, we just wanted to make an announcement that our cookbook volume 2 is on sale until December 1st for 15% off, and it's got all of our greatest recipes in it. And if you use the code HOLIDAY15 at checkout, you get the 15% off. Okay, so now that our mushrooms are cooked down a bit, we're going to add our onions, and this is 1 large diced onion, just a regular yellow onion, and 4 cloves of garlic that are finely minced. And by doing it this way, the mushrooms have released a lot of that moisture, and when you add the onions to it, it's going to help that to keep it from sticking to the bottom of the pan, because we're not using any oil in this recipe. And if it does start sticking just a little bit, you can always just add a little bit of water or a little bit of the vegetable broth from the recipe, and it'll come right off the pan. So we're just going to saute these until the onions are pretty well cooked. Okay, for the next part is where we kind of mix it all together. So you need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And then I'm going to tell you about the buckwheat bread that we're going to use. So I used buckwheat groats to make this bread, and they're from our partner Essential Organics, who carry over 600 organic products. And if you want to check them out, you can use the code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout for 10% off your order. So you're going to need 2 loaves of my buckwheat bread, and we'll give you that recipe link in the details below. So I already have the mushroom, onion, celery mixture in here. We're going to toss in our bread. So I made these 2 loaves of bread, and then I let them cool a little bit, popped them out of the pans, and I sliced them up and then cubed them into little cubes, just like any other stuffing you would make. But this one, because it's not a whole wheat bread or just a regular type of bread, typically with stuffing you would just chunk it up like this, and you'd leave it on the countertop overnight to dry out and to kind of get stale, right? Well, this bread doesn't quite work the same because it's so full of moisture and it retains the moisture for a long time. It doesn't dry out like normal bread. So I spread them out on a baking pan, and I put them in the oven at 200 degrees, or 250 degrees for 1 hour, just to dry it out, and then I just let it cool on the top of the stove or on the countertop overnight. So then it's ready for you to make the next day. All right, so to that we're going to add 3/4 cup of cranberries, and this is completely optional. I think I like to have just a little bit of that tangy bite in there. And then we have our herbs. So for stuffing, it's really best to use fresh herbs. So I got these at the grocery store. It was just in a little poultry mix, so it had all of these together. So it's sage, rosemary, and thyme. And it's about 3 tablespoons worth of freshly chopped herbs. And if you're going to use dry, I would use half that amount. And then I've got 1 liter of a low sodium vegetable broth and 1 tablespoon of a low sodium tamari. And I'm just going to pour that in because it's better just to mix the liquids together. So I'm going to stir this up a little bit first, just to kind of mix it a little bit before we add moisture to it. Okay, you don't have to stir it a lot, but just kind of basic, because we're going to keep stirring. Now you're really just going to add a little bit of this at a time, probably about 1/3, and then stir, another 1/3, stir, just like that, because we don't want to soak it right off the bat. Just kind of want to moisten it and then stir it in so it has a chance to soak all of that up. Because you don't want it pooling in the bottom. You don't want these bread cubes sitting in that liquid. You're just trying to moisten them. Okay. Then another third. And if you see, it's just soaking up all of that liquid. And I mean, this buckwheat bread is so healthy and it's so full of flavor. I just love the flavor of buckwheat bread. And we're all gonna add some cracked pepper here. But buckwheat bread is so much more nutritious than just regular bread. So with your holiday meal, you're gonna get this really nutritious treat in something that's gonna taste so delicious. And it's not gonna bog you down or make you feel bloated or feel overfull. You know, when you're eating it, it feels heavy, but it doesn't land heavy in your stomach. So great. All right, we're just gonna add the rest. And you're gonna need a casserole dish, a 9x13 casserole dish. And I've got one that has a lid. But if you don't have a dish that has a lid on it, you could just put like a piece of parchment paper really well crumpled around the sides, or you know, tin foil. You could always use tin foil. Okay. You gotta make sure that when you're, you know, check the bottom. If there still is some liquid, that's okay. It will soak it all up once it's in the pan. All right. So now we're just going to put it in our baking dish here. Ah, it smells so good. I've been wanting to make stuffing for years and years, but I really didn't think I could make it a good one and have it be gluten-free too, and healthy. But this turned out amazingly well, better than what I thought. All right, so spread it around a little bit. Okay, and then we're gonna put our lid on, and we're gonna bake this for 40 minutes. And you're gonna check it, and it's really up to you if you wanna take it further. If you feel like it's not quite moist enough or, you know, spongy enough, you could always go for a little bit over an hour, but really 40 minutes is plenty of time.
While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowdfunded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of free printable recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook series, are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting membership community. So if you love our recipes, I invite you to join us on our mission to make plant-based cooking easy, and follow the link in the description to become a supporting member today. There's no denying the plant-based diet is a nutrient powerhouse, but did you know there are a handful of hard-to-get nutrients even well-crafted diets are often lacking? The latest research suggests that complementing your diet with a few specific vitamins, minerals, and omega-3s will help boost your energy and keep you thriving for the long term. That's why my daily health routine includes Complement Essential. Complement Essential contains the 8 critical nutrients lacking from most plant-based diets in dosages optimized specifically for us. As a special discount for our viewers, just use code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save 15% off of your order.
Okay guys, it's done. Let's go in. Let's see what this looks like. Woo! Oh, look at that. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Let's set that down. All right. So that worked perfectly. Feels really nice and spongy and moist. All right, so all that's left is for a taste. I'm gonna let this cool for a few minutes before I do the taste. And also with this, you can make this the day before and just stick it in the fridge after it cools off a bit and then reheat it whenever you're ready to have your meal. It works perfectly fine just like that. All right, let's go on to the taste. Okay, let's go in for a taste. I'm gonna dig down a little bit. It's a little moister in the bottom. Put a little more in there. Oh, it smells so good. And you can always put a little bit of mushroom gravy on it from our last week's show. That would be delicious. I love the combination of the buckwheat bread with the herbs. You're gonna love it. Come on back next week for another great recipe.